We really, really appreciate the offer, Mark.
Understand.
It's Mark Cuban.
I know.
I turned down Mark Cuban, and then my business exploded. But not for the reason you'd think. Okay, but let me back up. Before Bite, before Shark Tank, before any of this, I spent my 20s backpacking, hitchhiking, adventuring all around the world. And I put the whole thing on YouTube. And then one day I looked at my toothpaste and I thought, why does this need to come in plastic?
When I created this, I was traveling full time and I went through those little toothpaste tubes and I was like, this is so wasteful. And that's when I learned about all of the really nasty chemicals that's in most toothpaste. And I was like, I don't want those in my body. So I started looking into how I could make my own.
I actually started making them by hand. Then a video about my company got posted on the internet and it blew up. I was still making these in my living room. At one point, I was selling them at 90 in one jar, and I would actually have to do a full rotation on my tableting machine every single time I made a tablet. My shoulders actually still messed up from it. What happened next was press, awards, and Bite growing into an 8-figure business. The orders were coming in faster than I could ever imagine, and I was sitting on the floor packing orders at 2 a.m. thinking there's no way I'm gonna be able to keep up. But failure wasn't an option, so I started banging on doors looking for a contract manufacturer to make my tablets. Started teaching myself everything I could about running a business. It was late nights, early mornings, and total chaos. But the company was growing and I needed to keep up. By the time we went on Shark Tank, I had found a manufacturer, hired my small team, and I was ready to face the sharks.
First in the tank is a reinvention of a product that hasn't been innovated in over 100 years.
I was so nervous. I don't like even speaking in front of a room full of people, let alone 5 of the most intimidating business people in the world on stage. There were 2 things I was most afraid of. One was just totally blanking out on stage, not knowing my numbers, and looking like a total fool. And then the other was going up there and my concept being so weird that I wouldn't be offered a deal. I felt like both of those things could be a total possibility, but I decided to do it anyway because I believed that it would be good for Bite long term. I can't believe we had the sharks using Bite. That was so fun to see. And things started to get really intense when both Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Leary gave us offers.
So guys, I'll make you an offer. I need 15%.
I'd do the 325 for 20%.
Mark, I want to work with you, but this is a lot.
Never in a million years did I think that I'd be saying no to one of the most beloved billionaires on national TV.
It is shocking when someone says no to me. What was the last time that even
In
happened?
the end, we just couldn't get the numbers to work out. I woke up the next day and there was this moment in bed where I was just like, what have I done? There was one second where I truly thought that I could have made the worst mistake of my life. We had found a lot of success up until then, but what if things took a turn and fell off a cliff? Our episode ended up airing on March 6th, 2020, only 6 days before the world shut down on March 12th because of the coronavirus. It was a really sad and scary time that also changed e-commerce forever. With the world sheltering in place, more people were buying things online than ever before. With the focus on health, more people wanted things that were better for their body and things that were better for the environment, and our company's sales doubled that same year. I had to teach myself everything. I went to the OPM program at Harvard Business School. I read every business book I could find, and there was a lot that I got right, but I still made so many mistakes. Constant work and stress took a toll on my health. As someone who was previously a surf and snowboard instructor, I was used to being able to work outside and my body being active and engaged at all times. So being behind a desk, eating takeout and not working out, my health really started to decline. It honestly started to feel terrible, and I decided that I really needed to make a change. I got super into health and longevity. I started strength training, really tracking my macros and metrics, and experimenting with things like red light therapy, different supplements, and tracking the results over time. It was a major learning curve, and I spent a ton of money on things that did not work. But I also found things that really moved the needle too. And the last thing I realized is that running a business really requires you to get your mindset right. So many days, it's just a mind game, and being able to get yourself to show up and really perform. Because if things aren't going right in your head, they're definitely not gonna go right in your business. And over the past few years, I developed a daily practice that really helps me stay aligned. And that's what this channel is about. It's what I've learned over the almost 10 years of running a business and how I still somehow feel the best I ever have at 41. So in the end, saying no to Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Leary was one of the best things I could have ever done, but there's no way I would have been able to know that at the time.